part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
And welcome to another Reg Guy and Rhoda podcast powered by MGM Northfield Park right here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Shout out to our fantastic producer, Chase Smith, who makes sure everything sounds fantabulous for you. All of those listening out there in the podcastosphere. And Michael Reg Guy, we're taping this on a Monday night because, well, it was Halloween night and the Browns played on Monday night. It was already, though, a victory Monday because the Cavaliers won their fifth in a row, beating the Knicks on Sunday. So it was a victory Monday to start, and it remained a victory Monday as the Browns, for whatever reason, Kevin Stefanski, for whatever reason, own the Cincinnati Bengals. They win it 32-13 in front of a nationally televised audience on Monday Night Football. How about that one, Reg?
I like the resolve, Kenny. I like the determined presence that the Browns played with tonight. Absolutely had to have it if you're talking about anything that might be meaningful for this team for the rest of the season to give themselves even a slight. I still think it's very slim, Ken, but well, you got 9 football games left, and this is a 3-5 football team, and so we'll get into that a little bit later on. But I did like the way the competition level was very high. They seemed, as I said, have a resolve to let everybody know we're not quite ready to have this season completely come, off the hook yet. So for that, yes, you got to commend them. And for whatever reason, Joe Burrow, as good as he is, cannot beat the Cleveland Browns. So, it's just another one of those intriguing things that we see happen with various teams in the NFL.
Yeah, he is now, I believe, 0-4.
Correct.
Stefanski is 5-0. Burrow didn't play one of the games. So like I said, for whatever reason, sometimes, Reg, this covering sports, there's that confidence level. Man, it's the Bengals. We always beat the Bengals, right? You just have that feeling. Myles Garrett with a huge start to the game. He finishes with 1.5 sacks, a tip ball that was picked off. He impacted the game for the Browns. Jacoby Brissett was fantabulous tonight. 17 of 22 for 278, a touchdown in the air, a touchdown on the ground. Yeah, he fumbled once, but that's because he was clobbered on a blitz and everything like that. But some guys that needed to step up did. And, of course, this team goes as Nick Chubb goes, really. 23 carries. Hallelujah. Thank you, Kevin. Run the ball, Stefanski, as Dick and Dayton would say. 23 carries, a $101, 2 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion. He's really the straw that stirs the drink on the offense, and that kind of takes the pressure off of Jacoby Brissett, I think.
Without question. And, you got to if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, you got to having Nick Chubb in the orange and brown because, the guy is a tremendous running back. I think he's top 3 in the National Football League. And, when you have him, you always have your chest. And for the Browns, Kenny, what do they need to do offensively? Well, they need to get leads and shorten the game then, right?
Yep.
If that's a thing in the NFL. Now, you and I have talked about this ad nauseum. And once again, tonight, Jacoby Brissett, you give him the lead. Isn't it funny, Kenny, how his decision-making is better, how he throws the football better, and how he keeps his team in a position to win. So, again, nothing but kudos for Jacoby from that. We've seen the other one because when he's behind in the fourth quarter, he's dog doo-doo.
Yeah.
And he has been in all their losses this year. So it's pretty simple formula, and that all lies into you run, and it's going to be very interesting tomorrow too. Kenny, I got a feeling we'll talk a little bit later on, but I think the Browns are going to move Kareem Hunt on Tuesday. Might be the Los Angeles Rams, who desperately need a running attack to help out the Super Bowl champs, to help out Matthew Stafford because, they're trying to win without a running game at all. So I got a feeling that the LA Rams might be a landing spot for Hunt. I would prefer, Ken, that they did not trade Kareem Hunt. I have no decision and don't factor into the matter. But to me, I like being able, when you spell Nick Chubb, to have Kareem Hunt, a veteran who is an established NFL running back on this football team. So
I'm with you. I think there's a very good chance he gets moved for these reasons, Reg. All right. And we'll dive into what they should get for him later. But number one, contract's up at the end of the season. Yeah. Number two, he asked to be traded at the beginning of the season. Number three, they've drafted running backs in each of the last two drafts. Number four, they have Dearness Johnson that can be a decent backup to Nick Chubb. So all those reasons lead me to believe that there's a good chance he gets moved. And I'll throw one more in there. They need to recoup draft picks for all the ones they gave away for Deshaun Watson. So how many facts did I just give you there as to why there's a good chance, that they could trade him? Yeah. So, and I think, Philadelphia, I thought maybe would need doesn't look like they need a running back. They're happy with their running game. But you're right. The biggest team out there as far as need with the running back is the Rams, especially after what the 49ers did in going out and getting Christian McCaffrey. So we'll dive into that a little bit later on, but they used him. They played him tonight. So maybe that raised his trade value a little bit tonight. And we'll see what happens by 4 p.m. on Tuesday, November 1st, tomorrow, as we're taping this still on a Monday night. But Reg, Amari Cooper with a big game tonight too for the Browns. 5 catches, 131 yards, and a touchdown. They could not guard him. The running game obviously opened some of that up as well. Some injuries opened some of that up as they had to put the rookie draft pick from Michigan, who's a safety, on him at cornerback, and he couldn't cover Amari. So DPJ with a nice game, 4 catches, 81 yards. One of their best balanced attacks all year, Reg. And I love this. My favorite numbers of the night, though. 44 rushes, 22 passes.
Gotta love it.
That's a recipe for success with the Cleveland Browns.
Isn't that whom they are?
Right.
Right. That's whom they are. We just said it again. We said it 8 million times. And, I don't care how big a Browns fan you are. I mean, if you can't see that, because all of their losses this year, every one of them, have been when Jacoby Brissett is trying to bring the team from behind in the fourth quarter. He's thrown 4 picks in fourth quarters this year, every one of them in a loss. So, Kenny, it's obvious. You want to run the I need like a 65 to 67% run pass ratio.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people say, well, that's too high. Well, no. It's not too high because it's the best aspect of your football team. You've put a lot into this offensive line. Once again, tonight, they played very, very well. As I said, you got one of the top running backs in the game. And as long as you still have Kareem Hunt, again, this should be whom you are. You run the football with this team because, again, the alternative to it, and playing from behind is not been good for the Browns this year.
Yeah.
And I don't think it will be good. That's again, they're a team that needs to have the lead and then accent the biggest strength of their offensive football team, which is the run game. So when it's going like tonight, and Kenny also, this is too. I'm going to give him credit. 2 back-to-back decent to good defensive performances from the Browns. Now, I know the last one, remember we thought they played decently defensively.
Yep.
Got beat by the Ravens, but played decently. And tonight, again, played decent, solid defensive football. I really like what, the kid corner, Martin Emerson, he had a very strong performance tonight. And I think he had 9 total tackles, a couple of PBUs. Yep. So really like what they're seeing from him because who knows when Denzel Ward is going to come back. It's what good player, but it's what Denzel is. He plays about 12 games a year. Kenny, we went through that 1,000,000 times already, and I don't like to see somebody tell me I'm wrong. No, I'm not wrong. That's what he plays, 12, maybe 13 games a year in his career. And that's what, is probably going to be the same case this year. So it's good that Emerson tonight, at least, and maybe this is the beginning of his showing that and this is going to be one of the good selections by Andrew Berry, who has been, a little bit shaky at best in some of his draft choices the last couple of years.
Sione Taki with a nice game tonight as well. Reg, 13 tackles, a sack, a tackle for a loss, a forced fumble. So nice to see somebody from that linebacking core step up and make some plays.
Good to get Jadeveon Clowney back. I don't know if he had great numbers tonight, but just his presence on the opposite side or next to, depending how they line up, Myles Garrett. Good to have him back, So, I'd like to see if the Browns could continue to defensively, Kenny, just play at the level they are right now. Again, nobody's asking you to, hold every team to a touchdown and shut them out. That's not reality in the NFL, but keep your team in a football game and give them a chance to, the offense, a chance to shorten the game with Chubb. We'll see about Hunt, that running game. That's how the Browns could win. There's no big secret about that. That's how they can win. Now, what are they, 3-5?
Yeah.
2 games behind Baltimore. Baltimore's 5-3, are they not?
5-3 Baltimore, 4-4
Cincy,
3-5 Cleveland, 2-6 Pittsburgh. That's the AFC North right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, so 9 football games left. I mean, Ken, what? Realistically, I don't know if 9-8 is going to do it this year.
As a wild card, it's not going to win the division. I can guarantee that. Yeah,
for sure.
Wild card, maybe if you're lucky, right?
So to get to 10-7, you're looking at I agree. Yeah, oh boy, I said the same. That get to 10-7. That's 7-2.
Yeah.
I don't think this team's capable.
And you open at Miami and at Buffalo coming out of the bye week.
Which right now, again, hey, is where I play everybody. But right now,
yeah.
I won't be surprised if they win either one of those games.
Be happy if you can get a split out of those two.
God,
right?
Happy,
be thrilled.
Oh yeah. Be doing throwing parties and then cartwheels because. The chances of beating both, they're both on the road, are they not?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, well, the chances of winning those 2 road games back-to-back are very infinitesimal. Would you agree, partner?
100%, whatever that means. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree with you, Reg.
Okay, man.
Dropping the word knowledge on all of us.
No, that's cool. But listen, again, I feel better again because defensively, I feel better about what they've shown. And even again, going back to the Baltimore loss, it's improving a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Special teams, no, but defense, yes.
No.
Yeah, and we'll get into special teams a little bit later in the next segment. But yes, the defense, hey, Myles Garrett led the charge. They had 5 sacks as a team tonight. They were all over Joe Burrow. Myles Garrett, 1.5 sacks, 4 quarterback hits. I don't know how the Bengals are 4-4 with that crappy their offensive line is dog crap. They are. I don't know who's worse, the Steelers or the Bengals offensive line. Both are terrible. How Burrow is still upright and their 500 is beyond me because that line, they can't run the ball and he has no time to throw the football. Now, granted, Jamar Chase didn't play tonight. And, that's a big factor, but I don't know if he would have had time to get him the football down the field tonight.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for, Joe Burrow, know the young man, growing when he grew up, with his father as a defensive coordinator of the Ohio Bobcats for Frank Solich for all those years. So first saw him as a little kid running around Athens, Ohio. And I'll tell you, Ken, I don't know how he withstands. I mean, they made it to the Super Bowl last year with maybe the worst offensive line in the game. Certainly one of the least achieving offensive lines in the game. And again, he takes a lot of shots, Kenny. Yeah. There's games he gets up into being hit double digits 10 times while, looking to throw the football. I don't know. Yeah. And the Browns don't have a problem with it, though. The Browns, as we just said, for whatever reason, they find a way to shorten the game and but with running the football and give Joe Burrow a lot of trouble. And what did it say? 4-0 against him, is it right? Or is it 5-0?
Well, they're 5-0. Stefanski 5-0 against the Bengals. Burrow started 4 of those 5. Yeah, right. And they're 4-0 against him. He has yet to beat them. So, for whatever reason, Jacoby Brissett quarterback rating 133. Who'd have thunk that Jacoby Brissett would outplay on Monday Night Football Joe Burrow? But he did. 133.7 quarterback rating. Burrow's was 96.4. He got a couple of garbage touchdowns late in the game when it was 25-0 and out of hand. Hey, they get the win. They need it. Michael, this was a must-win game. This was, at least for now, in my opinion, a season-saving win to keep their hopes alive, as they'll have 3 more games with Jacoby Brissett as the starter. And if everything, goes as planned, then they'll get Deshaun Watson back on December 4th at Houston. So. Yes.
He'll play 6 football games. You have 6 football games left for Watson to play. And I guess, you hope that they still are alive, at least mathematically.
5 and 6, Reg. I'm thinking if they can go 2-1 in the next 3, somehow, some way, get it to 5 and 6, they got a shot. If they go 1 and 2 and they're staring at 4 and 7, I don't see them making the playoffs.
That'd be very, very tough. You have to, have to run the table at that point.
Yeah.
I'd have to go 6-0 to finish. So we just said it's, and again, it's at Buffalo, at Miami, and what's that third one?
Tampa Bay at home. Who knows? Tommy might still be going through the divorce proceedings and everything like that. And that team, I don't know if they've turned on him or not happy with how he's handled everything off the field this year and that. So maybe you get a downtrodden Tampa Bay team where maybe Father Time has finally caught up with TB12. And at least that one's at home before Deshaun Watson will play his first football game in the regular season, at least in 700 days.
Yeah, I believe, and it's still 2 more weeks, I believe. I want to say November 14th before he's in the facility.
Right.
And he can go to meetings in the facility, get in the weight room, work out. He cannot get on the practice field with them, though, for 2 more weeks. So you got that to deal with. And then, he's got so he'll have 2 to 3 weeks of being on the practice field and running the offense and going through the offense before he can play that first football game down in Houston.
Yeah. So December 4th, put that on the calendar, folks, and we'll see what the Browns' record is at that point. Hey, Reg, let's do this. Let's get a break in right now here on the R&R podcast, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park. And when we come back, we'll look at that schedule, but also the trading deadline, what you think they should be able to get for Kareem Hunt, where things stand with this team moving forward now at 3-5, and in the AFC. We'll get into all that and much more here on the Red Guy and Rhoda podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey everybody, it's Sam Amico from Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Be sure to give us a listen for all your Cleveland Cavaliers recaps, analysis, breakdowns, draft talk, free agency. The list goes on and on. Give us a listen, Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
What's up everyone? I'm Holly Wetzel.
And I'm Tyrus Powell.
And we are your hosts of the Orange is Oranger, a Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network. We give you all the dog pound coverage that you'll need to get you through the regular season, hopeful postseason, and I'd say off-season, Tyvis, but is there really ever an off-season for this team?
Thankfully for our podcast, Holly, there really never is when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Don't miss our breakdown of each week's matchup game recaps, and any and all news out of Berea to feed your Browns appetite. As we know, Holly, dogs gotta eat.
Yes, they do. So hit that subscribe button and never miss an episode of the Orange is Oranger, Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey, I'm Jason.
And I'm Gary, and we love ball cards.
And if you love ball cards too, good news. You just found your new favorite podcast. From breaks to grading,
and from collecting to flipping, join us on the Ball Card Show,
the sports podcast for the sports collector.
And we continue with the R&R podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network, brought to you by MGM Northfield Park. Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing. Catch the excitement of live harness racing every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday evening with a post time of 6 p.m. Wager and win daily on top thoroughbred and harness tracks from around the world, with action starting at around noon. Plus, you can enter to play the free handicapping contest every Sunday for a chance to win cold hard cash. Top prize, $500. Registration begins at 11 a.m. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. All right, Reg, Monday night winner for the Cleveland Browns, 32-13 over the Bengals. They improved to 3-5. Bengals fall to 4-4. Browns 2 games out of first in the AFC North. That belongs to the Baltimore Ravens, who added a linebacker from the Chicago Bears today, Red. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Roquan Smith coming over to the defense now for the Baltimore Ravens. Are they looking at this and saying, hey, this is our division to win now, so let's bolster our defense a little bit, or what?
Oh, yeah. Exactly. In a word, yes. I've always liked Roquan Smith, Ken. He's a thumper, man. You know, He's a guy that's in that interior, that Mike linebacker. He takes on offensive guards, 330-pounders. And Roquan Smith is a very good linebacker. So no surprise to me that Baltimore went out and got that. You said it, exactly what it is. We just went through the standings, 5-3. This is our division to win. Nobody's better than us in this division, and now we're going to go out and add to it and go prove it. I still think, Ken, they'll win the division. And then the big question is, will the Browns be able to put together a run in these final 9 games to maybe grab one of those wild card playoff spots?
2nd and 5th round picks next year go to the Bears from the Ravens, and they just recently traded Robert Quinn to the Eagles for a 4th round pick. So they're stockpiling picks to use on offensive linemen to protect their quarterback, Justin Fields, because their offensive line stinks too.
Yep.
Michael, so we've seen some of these trades go down. Christian McCaffrey, what was given up for him by the 49ers, Roquan. What do you think the Browns will ask for Kareem Hunt by tomorrow's 4:00 trading deadline, as we tape this still on Monday night, early Tuesday morning here on the Press Play Podcast Network? What do you think they'll ask for, and what do you think they'll probably get for Kareem Hunt if indeed they do deal him?
They'll ask for a 3rd, Kenny.
Okay.
They'll get a 4th.
Okay.
That's the way I see it. I think that's the way it's playing out. And how we always said, look, we just mentioned the Roquan Smith deal. I mean, we'll get a 1st or 2nd round. No, it's not how the NFL works. I know, Browns fans would like to think that, but I'm thinking a 4, Kenny. And I do think that the Browns will go that and do it and make a deal if they can get a 4th back for Kareem Hunt. I wouldn't do it. That's me. Okay. I like Kareem Hunt a lot. I think that he's a large part of this offense, but you set out a lot of the different factors that are involved in this, right? And I do think that Kareem Hunt and his representation are kind of saying, hey, can you move us? Can you move us to a place where we can get the football more? And, so it is what it is here. He's going to be the I want to call him the 1A. Again, I think he's terrific runner. He's starting running back, Ken. We know that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's many teams he'd be the number 1 guy. And I mean, not just the bottom feeders. I'm talking about good teams.
Right.
he'd be the number one guy with the, like I said, he'll go right into, if it's the defending Super Bowl champions, he'll go right in to that. And Sean McVay will have him. He'll be the moment he walks in the door, he'll be the guy and carrying the football 18 to 20 times a game. Guarantee you that. So it's, I prefer they don't. If they get a fourth rounder, though, Ken, I got a feeling that they're going to. How about you?
Do you think Buffalo or Kansas City has any interest in him? Kansas City, of course, he played there before he had the, the run-in with the law, and they let him go.
Right. I don't think Kansas City, but possibly Buffalo. I think, though, that the top team right now is because of they're just hell. They won the Super Bowl last year, Kenny, and they were down at the bottom of the NFL running the football. Go look at the stats from last year. It was all about Stafford then throwing for 6,000 yards and 50 touchdowns.
Yeah,
those are exact numbers. I'm counting the playoffs now.
Right,
but that's what he threw for: 6,000 plus yards and 50 touchdown passes last year. That's all they did is throw the football. I mean, to me, it's like, boy, I tell you what, good defense too, but still, to me, remarkable that you can win a Super Bowl when you basically only throw the football and don't run it. They did. Now they want to get back to see if they can enhance their running game. And by the way, they're 3-4 too.
Exactly. I was just looking at the
They're 3-4,
Rich.
So they got to start picking the pace up a little bit if they're going to have any shot of defending their Super Bowl championship.
Yeah,
Hunt is number one on their wish list, so we'll see if it happens.
They're 1-2 in the division as well. They're a game and a half out of first. Seattle, Geno Smith, who'd have thunk that? Not me, leading the charge there for the Seahawks.
Not me either, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see if it lasts, though. Give it some time. And then, you know what? I look at Kansas City. To me, Buffalo's the best team in the league, Rich. Okay.
Better than Philly? You like them better than Philly? Yeah.
I just think they've done it for a longer period of time, that experience when it comes playoff time. Philly is kind of the Johnny-come-lately. They're undefeated. And, hey, how do we defend this team? We don't know yet because Hurts and A.J. Brown and all that, But I think Buffalo's better. But Kansas City and Buffalo, if they want to better their chances of winning the Super, I think they should get involved in the Kareem Hunt sweepstakes as well. And maybe that's where you hope that you get 2 or 3 teams and you can play one against the other and get that third that would really sweeten the deal. And you make that in a heartbeat if you can get a third for him, because you're losing him at the end of the year anyways in free agency. So
you have to, if it's a 3, even though I don't want to particularly, as I've stated. If they can get a 3, you have to. I mean, you just absolutely have to do it, because you got to start. You got to start banking some assets that have in the draft now, because that's the only way this team's going to, hope to start to make improvements the next couple of years is with draft picks.
Yeah, and by the way, Kareem Hunt tonight, 11 carries, 42 yards, did not score on the ground. Caught 4 balls, 30 yards, didn't score. So 15 touches.
15 touches. Yeah,
72 yards. So there's a nice little resume boost if you need it. Hey, this is what he can do. Catch it, run it out of the backfield. If you need him, and like you said, the Rams do. The Chiefs could use him. I think the Bills could really use him, and that would put them really over the top if they went out and got a Kareem Hunt to add to that offense. Right. I think that's the one thing that, if you look at their weakness, Buffalo, can they run the football? I'm not sure how consistently they can run it. He betters their chance of gaining yards on the ground. Kansas City, I think he'd pop right back in there into that Andy Reid offense. That would help them, but the Rams are the most desperate. So let's see if one of those 3 teams, gets on the phone with Andrew Berry and offers up a 3 or a 4 or who knows, whatever else. Would you take Cam Akers back from the Rams since he wants the hell out of there along with a draft pick, or no? You don't want him?
I'm not real high.
I'll pass too. Yeah, I just thought I'd throw it out there.
He's a guy that doesn't seem to hit holes well. And a couple times this year inside the opponent's 5-yard line for the Rams has put the ball on the ground when they're going into the end zone. No. So no.
Yeah, I'll pass on that too.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, draft picks only. That's what we're looking at. So, all right, I want to get to the special teams, Reg. I know they won the game tonight. Everybody's feeling good. It's Halloween night. Everybody got their tricks, their treats, their candy. I got a win at First Energy Stadium. But again, tonight I wrote these notes down. Another blocked field goal, a shanked punt because of pressure late in the game, and no return game still. Bye week hits now for the Cleveland Browns. They're 3-5 going into the bye. Looks like Joe Woods in the defense. He gets a reprieve. He's fine. But the special teams, Michael, I don't see it getting better. Do you? Where we've seen improvement, like you said, the last 2 weeks defensively, I don't see it getting better special teams wise. Is it time to make a move there during this bye week or no?
Yeah, when you get into week 9 and you're talking about not seeing much significant improvement and not expecting it to be, hell yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. I mean, Kenny, you and I know, again, we've been doing this forever. Special teams will cost you games.
Yep.
Now, when everything's going well in special teams, nobody really, you don't think about it. You don't put it into its proper perspective, but it costs you games when it's not right. And I think this team can ill afford that. Oh. And again, now they made the choice again. So you go and what I would never do. I don't give a damn how good, and I've said this before. It's not just because I would never spend a draft pick on a field goal kicker. Never. But that's what Andrew Berry decided to do. And
after getting one block today, he did hit a 55-yarder.
He hit the 55-yarder, which that's what his MO is, right? He's got that tremendously large leg.
Thunderfoot.
Can drive them through the uprights from deep. Well, and he needed that one today.
Yeah, he did.
He needed that one today because a couple of misses, you can't tell me that they've kind of impacted the way the game's tilted. Agreed? In a couple losses?
Absolutely. And then all of a sudden you start getting the yips. Can't make, I'm getting how many blocked? I'm missing extra point, but I wonder again, is it the blocking scheme? Is it the yardage marked off? They moved it up a yard last week to try the long. Well, okay, that's to me on the Mike Pre. We shouldn't know who the special teams coach is. That's when you have a good special. It's like a third base coach. Remember Jeff Newman and Windmill? He'd just wave everybody home. We knew who the hell he was. Off the top of my head, Sandy's the first base coach.
Yep.
So, who's the third base coach for the Guardians? Sarbaugh?
Mike Sarbaugh.
Sarbaugh. See, but I had to think about it, right? That's a good thing. That means he didn't screw up, okay?
Yep.
And so when you know Mike Prefer's name and you're talking about him week after week after week, that's a problem.
It is. And, again, I don't see how if this thing would persist and there be a couple of more, missteps that cost or help to cause the cost of a football game, well, you have no other choice. Then you
do you wait for that to happen though, Michael, or are you proactive? I'd be.
I don't expect them to do it. But then again, if you don't, all right, to me, as with everything else, head football coach, then that's on you then.
Right.
And that's on you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
comes back to bite you in the ass.
You got the call on that. That's not an Andrew Berry thing. Coaching staff, assistant coaches are the domain of the head coach. So if you're going to stay the course with it and it continues to be negative and cost you at times, then that's on you, head football coach. Period. End of story.
Totally agree 100% with you on that, Michael. So we'll see if anything's done during the bye week. And Stefanski, nice play calling tonight, although the Amari Cooper passed the first time he's ever thrown a football in a game. Let's hope that never. Hey, Jarvis Landry isn't here anymore, okay?
No.
Juice was able to
good
make
at
those.
That. Yeah. A left-handed throw from Juice.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that, though. And of course, they brought it, and good for them. Good on their. I thought I don't remember Cooper throwing a football in college.
Saban. Nick Saban didn't have him throwing the ball in college.
Exactly. So they went back, though, and he never did it in high school either.
Yeah. So
and that throw came up and again. I love Amari's toughness as a receiver.
Right.
He threw that football 12 yards shy of where the receiver was. I mean, it was like, no, that just didn't really happen, did it?
Yeah,
I mean, he left that ball 12 yards short of his intended receiver.
Yeah.
So can't imagine we're going to see that anymore.
Hey, like the Wildcat, though, right? That worked for him.
Direct snap to Nick.
Yep,
to
love that. Yeah,
love
so let's give Stefanski some credit for his, non-vanilla play calling at times tonight, but then he stuck with what got you the lead, and that's 44 rushes, 22 passes, and that's what I'd like to see, a 2-to-1 ratio there, rushes to passes each and every week. All right, so 3-5 going into the bye, Michael. Huge difference from 2-6. 2-6, season's over. Stick a fork in them. They're done. Forget about Deshaun Watson. It wouldn't have mattered. 3-5, you've got some hope. Hopefully you can go 2-1 in these next three, split on the road, get the home win against a struggling Tampa Bay team, and hand it over to Deshaun Watson at 5-6. I guess that would be best case scenario, most realistic scenario, right? If you're the Browns, with getting Watson back on that December 4th game at Houston.
Yeah, that's the word. Realistically, yes. I mean, if they could win two of these next three somehow, I think they're in as about a positive, solid position as you could expect of them, given the way these first 8 games have played out.
Yeah, go a little meatloaf. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
There you go.
Do that.
You got
gives yourself a chance to maybe make the playoffs. Now, here's the thing, though. We were talking about this on the Kenny and JT show on WHBC. Deshaun Watson, he hadn't played a regular season game. It'll be 700 days, okay? 700 days. And when we saw him in the preseason, obviously a lot going on upstairs and everything, he looked horrible in the preseason too. So, to think he's going to come in as the superhero and win every game he starts, that's unrealistic. But he obviously is an upgrade over Jacoby Brissett because he's one of the highest rated passers in NFL history with the quarterback rating, when he is out there playing. So going to be interesting. Here's the thing. You want to give him that chance at 5-6, or dare I say 6-5, if miracles do happen, and give him that chance to maybe try and get you back in the playoff picture. So, we'll see. And I'm anxious to see how he performs once he is at the helm of this Stefanski offense too. So that's what's in store for them heading into the bye week. Those are the things they're thinking about and trying to get ready for.
A lot of variables, aren't there?
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I don't expect them to come in and, look like the Deshaun Watson that when he was at his quarterbacking best,
right?
With Houston. I mean, if it happens, wow. But Kenny, that defies just about everything we know about the NFL. Basically 2 years you hadn't played.
Right. Yeah.
So now you're coming into with a first time in an offense with a head coach and different personnel. And so he's going to have, like we said, he'll have about 2.5 weeks on the football field with this offense. And man, you got to supercharge your preparation offensively and give him every damn snap imaginable as you prepare for games to get him back on the football field. And Kenny, all I can do is just to see how it rolls. This is what they did. They went out and, got this man with everything that was going on around it. So, I mean, now I don't care if they won every football game between now and then. And no, Brissett's going to go sit down and Watson's going to come quarterback.
That's it. Period. That's why you didn't make didn't give up what you gave up to get him and the money you're paying him to say, oh, no, we'll sit him down an extra 2 weeks. That ain't happening. No. Oh, and by the way, first game at Houston.
How about that?
Where he used to play. Yeah, so he'll open up on the road against his former team, the Texans, and you know what that's going to be like in the crowd out there, in the audience, the fans in the stadium. It'll be absolutely insane. But hey, for a night, all is well, Michael Regai. More treats than tricks today for the Cleveland Browns on Halloween night 2022 as they take care of the Bengals, who look more like the old Bungles. 32 to 13, the final score, and they save their season at least for a couple more weeks.
Can be, yes, absolutely, 100% season saved. Brownstown is happy tonight. Now, with that said, I got a question for you.
All right, go ahead.
What the hell has happened to the wonderful tradition of Halloween, Kenny Rhoda? I had 7, by actual count, 7 trick-or-treaters come by tonight. It's getting worse. It's the tradition of it.
Yeah.
Is it going away? 7 kids came by tonight. That's it.
JT told me he had 1 in his neighborhood on Sunday. One. That's it.
Boy.
Now he's happy because he gets to eat all the candy that they didn't take. So yeah, he's but that's what he thought. I don't know, Michael. Although I will say this, there are a lot of good costumes at the ball game. At the First Energy Stadium. But yeah, it's a totally different world we're living in these days from when you and I grew up and everything, taking our pillowcases and everything like that.
Yeah, Halloween was like the bomb, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
It was like you get so excited and you wait for it. And these poor kids, I'm holding some of them, talking to them. Hey, how did you come up with your costume? Did your mom or dad or grandma help you with that? What made you decide? And these kids are looking at me like, hey, man.
Shut up and give me the candy.
So give me the candy so I can go get more. But 7, Kenny, 7 kids. It hurts me. It hurts me. Halloween's always been one of my favorites.
Mine too. And I got to ask you, your son Cal, right?
Oh yeah.
The school's going well for him in Columbus, right?
Oh, he loves it, man. He's living large down there.
How jacked is he for the potential of 2 undefeateds meeting in that final game of the regular season? Ohio State hosting Michigan, 2 versus 3, man.
Because I think it'd be phenomenal. It would be like 2006. It happened.
Yeah, 1 versus 2.
And they might be 1 and 2 by that time.
You never know. Yeah.
It could be. Yeah. We'll see.
Worst case, I think 2 and 3, because Georgia plays Tennessee this week. One of those two is going to lose. Yeah. Right. And so, we'll see.
I tell you what, I like Tennessee a lot. Now, we got to find out if they can beat Georgia. But, man, Hendon Hooker in that offense, woo, they're good.
Rocky Top, you'll always be home, sweet home to me.
That's right. The Mannings were there the other day.
Yeah, they're all over that. So one of my best friends played basketball at Tennessee, Mike Johansson. So we're hoping for that Tennessee Ohio State national championship game in California. Nice road trip to go see that one at SoFi Stadium this year, January, I think 13th. So
that'll be wild because if they all, and again, but the thing is, right now that the top 4, at least in the tomorrow night is the first college football poll.
Yep.
As far as the college football playoff poll, but right now, you got Georgia will play Tennessee, Michigan will play Ohio State. So I mean, it's going to take care of itself. I mean, Kenny, of course, being a Big Ten guy, I'm hopeful that it could happen. That now this is they're going to have to both of them go in 11-0 and undefeated,
right?
Meaning Michigan, Ohio State. But I'm hopeful that that's the case. And in a tight football game, regardless of who wins, who loses, say in a touchdown game, right?
Okay.
That both of them, and I know that would mean the loser, even if they're a tight game, is going to be 11-1 because the winner's going to play another game in the Big Ten championship game.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, again,
there's a chance. Outside
there's a shot.
Yeah.
You'd love
teams.
to see it. You'd love to see it. The 2 best teams in the problem is, Kenny, the rest of the Big Ten.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
Penn State's decent.
When
they play well at home.
When your quarterback's been there for 13 years,
he's
you would think they're
years old.
Yeah. Well, they should turn it over to Aller from Medina and let him play the rest of the season.
James Franklin, man.
Thank you, by the way, James. for the win the other day, James. Thank you. Nice job.
Yeah, I mean, because it was a tight football game. Now, conversely, 2 weeks ago, Michigan ran for 426 yards on them and just physically beat them up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of the Big Ten. Other than Ohio State and Michigan, I'm sorry. Nobody's a bigger Big Ten guy than me, and will always, but. And no, it's down, Ken.
Yeah, it's down big time.
It's down, with the exception of the two main.
Let's hope they're on that undefeated collision course. It'll make for great drama, great football, great theater.
I hope neither one of them gets upset in these next 3 weeks. Again, they want to go in. Let them both go in at 11-0, man.
Take care of business.
It's like old times, man. Yep. It's like Bo and Woody again, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Day and Harbaugh going at it. It'll be fun, man.
There's no love lost there.
Oh no, no Christmas cards being exchanged there whatsoever. Starting on third base, some people. You know what I mean? So
that's what Jimmy said.
Oh yeah,
that's
did.
What Jimmy said.
And then the year before
that's Urban's team, baby. You started on third base, and we kicked your butts.
Yeah, and then the year before that, they wanted to drop 100 on him, and didn't want to play us during the pandemic year. Okay, yeah, we understand why you didn't want to play us. So yeah, there's no love lost there whatsoever between those two.
And that's what makes it. That's what makes it fun.
Best rivalry in all of sports.
That's going back to that's going back to the 70s and 80s.
Yep. No question. All right, Reg, we'll get out of here. Maybe we'll do a separate podcast just on that matchup. Should we get them both undefeated heading?
We did last year. Remember, we had Mike Doss and Johnny Colasar.
Let's do it again. We'll get those guys and others.
I just don't want to slip up from either one of them. Again, it would still. And if one of them does lose, I don't think it's going to happen. But if one of them does, the winner of that would still. Win the Big Ten championship go to the Big Ten championship by virtue of head-to-head. But
right.
Would love to see them be 11-0. And like I said, if you get a tight football game, there's a chance they both could go to the college football playoff, which now that
depends what happens in the SEC and elsewhere. Yeah, so
it does. You got Alabama with the, they're sitting there with I don't know what I just know. To me, I don't know. I still think when it comes down to that, I know it didn't lie, but I think Saban will beat. I think Saban will beat Georgia if that's what it comes down to. But
we'll see.
Gotta
Should be a lot of fun.
See. Yeah. Yep.
All right, Reds, let's get out of here on this Halloween night. Browns a winner 32-13. That's another edition of the R&R podcast. We'll do this again in the next week or so. Break things down and get ready for the Deshaun Watson era in about a month here for the Cleveland Browns.